Hold on to your helmets, Bears News Fan Report family. There's a storm gathering in the Windy City, and it smells like fresh turf, gridiron glory, and a seismic shakeup to our backfield. If you're fired up for a seismic shift in Chicago's offensive identity, smash that like button and subscribe to Bears News Fan Report right now, because what I'm about to lay on you could redefine our season before the first snap of Week 1. Imagine a backfield transformation so electric that defensive coordinators start drafting game plans in pencil just to have room for erasing. Picture the kind of playmaker whose very presence forces opponents to account for an every-down nightmare. Someone who can turn a 3-yard gain into a highlight reel sprint, whose vision is so surgical it converts creases into open highways, and whose pass-catching prowess turns checkdowns into chunk plays. Could the Bears' ground game finally evolve from work in progress to unstoppable juggernaut? Is Ryan Poles willing to roll the dice on a star whose departure from his current squad has all the makings of a dramatic exit? What if the missing piece we've been craving, a 2-time Pro Bowler with a resume that reads like a touchdown factory, just slipped within reach? Let's set the stage. Last season, DeAndre Swift carried the load for Chicago, rushing for 959 yards but sputtering at a 3.8-yard average, drawing praise for his heart but criticism for consistency. In a league where a single yard per carry can mean dozens of extra points over the course of a season, that gap has haunted our run game. Meanwhile, across the north border in Buffalo, whispers are swirling about a golden-armed quarterback's favorite weapon growing restless, an explosive, versatile artist in cleats who piled up 18 rushing touchdowns last year and earned Pro Bowl nods as a rookie and sophomore. He arrived at mandatory minicamp but sat out practice, a clear signal that his loyalty has frayed. According to Adam Schefter, this back has disconnected himself from his franchise in pursuit of a new contract, and insiders say he might be eyeing an exit more permanent than a summer vacation. Could those contract disputes morph into a blockbuster trade? And if so, would the Bears be bold enough to pounce? Some drafts and depth chart architects argue that handing our young passer a back capable of gashing defenses both on the ground and through the air would be akin to handing him a cheat code, an 18 TD dynamo who averages more than 5 yards per carry and has already established himself as a reliable receiving outlet. Picture blow-up blocks at the line creating cutback lanes, then picture this athlete slashing through the second level, breaking arm tackles, and converting third downs with backfield receptions that deflate defensive alignments. Just envision the impact on an offense that struggled to open play-action windows under duress. But the question remains, can Chicago shake loose the draft capital or sweeten the deal enough for Buffalo to budge? Rumor has it that a middle-round pick, perhaps a 2026 second-rounder, could be on the table, and there are murmurings that the Bills, burned by recent contract squabbles, might be ready to cut ties rather than negotiate a blockbuster extension. Some believe that dangling draft stock and a promise of immediate impact in a redesigned offense could tip the scales. And when we say impact, we don't just mean yardage. This is a back whose film study is legendary, whose receiving chops force linebackers into coverage mistakes, and whose speed in space turns routine runs into 50-yard flights across the field. Could this be the spark that finally transforms Soldier Field into a ground-and-pound fortress? Or will rival front offices see Poles' leverage and push for an even steeper price, risking our draft capital for a fleeting prime? As Bears faithful, we've been starved for a workhorse who can shoulder 20 carries a game without fading in the fourth quarter, someone who pulls defenders deep and opens up play-action shots that keep defenses guessing. Could we be on the cusp of that very reality? After all this build-up, here's the moment you've been waiting for. The operation rumored to be in motion centers around none other than James Cook, the dynamic Bills back who flashed superstar potential as both a runner and receiver, amassing 18 rushing touchdowns and averaging an eye-popping 5.1 yards per carry last season. Yes, that James Cook, the kind of dual-threat weapon who could slot into Chicago's offense and change its DNA overnight. But will the stars align for the Bears to swing this deal? Stay tuned, because the answers are brewing, and when this story breaks wide open, we'll be there to catch every twist, turn, and sprint toward glory. If you're as fired up as I am about the possibility of James Cook in navy and orange, smash that like button and subscribe to Bears News Fan Report now, because the future we're about to imagine demands our full-throated support. Picture this: the very heartbeat of Soldier Field pulsing to the rhythm of Cook's cleats hitting the turf, as he transforms a Bears offense that once limped through second and long into a high-octane ground and air juggernaut. Imagine defenses forced to respect his blitz-beating hands and vision that carves open lanes like a sculptor at work. Could the addition of a back who racked up 1,212 total yards and 18 rushing scores last season, from zone reads to checkdown, missiles, be the catalyst that rewrites Chicago's identity from rebuild to contender? Let's lean into the possibilities. If Cook lands here, every play-action look becomes a nightmare for opposing coordinators. Remember the magic of the 2012 season, when Matt Fort's dual-threat mastery kept defenses honest and unlocked Mark Trestman's aerial attack? Cook's arrival could spark a similar renaissance, only with more explosive bursts and a receiving skill set that turns a simple dump-off into a 40-yard touchdown in the blink of an eye. Think of Caleb Williams stepping back, seeing defenders hesitate before trusting him to deliver, because they know Cook is lurking to turn that hesitation into a costly mistake. Some veterans believe this kind of playmaker changes the entire play-calling matrix. Others argue it ignites the locker room, giving every teammate the confidence that this franchise is finally serious about winning. Now, consider the emotional weight. Chicago fans have endured heartbreak after squandered promise, from that agonizing end to the Cutler era to playoff droughts that felt eternal. But what if Cook's presence becomes the spark that fans rally behind? Picture a packed stadium erupting on a Cook 20-yard touchdown dash, the sea of navy and orange rising in unison, crushing the ghosts of seasons past. There's precedent for a single acquisition shifting momentum. Think back to 2018, when Khalil Mack's trade to the Bears galvanized a defense and gave fans hope they hadn't felt since the 1985 Super Bowl run. Adding Cook could produce the same tectonic shift, but on offense, balancing the team and giving the defense the breathing room it craves. Of course, every bold move carries risk. Cook's recent minor hamstring strain and his hefty contract demands, reports, suggest a 4-year, $48 million deal with $24 million guaranteed would tie up significant cap space. Could Chicago's front office navigate that while still building depth at receiver and the offensive line? If mismanaged, the team could find itself in a salary cap vice reminiscent of the post-Matt Fort years, when resources were funneled to one star and the roster thinned out around him. Yet, insiders close to Ryan Poles insist that the draft capital used to pry Cook away would be balanced by savvy restructures of existing deals, freeing enough room to add a slot receiver or bolster the secondary. The goal: maintain flexibility, so this acquisition doesn't become a cautionary tale but rather the foundation of a championship blueprint. Let's not forget the ripple effect on the division. In a crowded NFC North, Minnesota's bruising backs and Detroit's ever-present rushing attack have long dictated physicality in this rivalry. Cook's blend of speed and power could tip the scales, forcing teams to choose between stacking the box or playing coverage on Chicago's new aerial weapon. If Cook thrives, you'd see Vikings linebackers chewing on their pads, knowing one mistake means 6 points. Meanwhile, Packers fans would shudder at the thought of facing an offense capable of gaslighting them with screens, options, and outside zone reads, all orchestrated by the youngster under center. But beyond wins and losses, this move could reshape the Bears' culture. Cook is known for film room obsession, his humility, and leadership, attributes that chain restraint teams often covet but rarely secure. Imagine rookies arriving in Chicago watching Cook dissect defenses on the tablet, veterans drawing inspiration from his relentless preparation, and a locker room unified around a shared hunger for excellence. Could this be the moment the Bears shed their reputation as perennial rebuilders and step into a new era of sustained success? It's a gamble that feels tailor-made for a franchise desperate for a defining moment. The pieces are in place, a young quarterback hungry to prove himself, a head coach eager to deploy creative fronts, and a front office willing to swing for the fences. All that remains is the deal itself, whether Buffalo's front office buckles under the weight of Cook's own frustration and Chicago's enticing pitch. When the dust settles, we could be witnessing not just the signing of a running back, but the dawning of a new chapter in Bears history, one written in hard-earned yards, game-changing receptions, and the roar of a city ready to believe again.